Hey guys, my name is Alex here. I want you to know that you guys' suggestions and comments have been very helpful, and I've come up with a new format I'm going to share with you all tomorrow. Um, and well, probably won't start tomorrow, but I'll share everything tomorrow. But today, I want so you guys know where my thinking and everything is, where maybe some of my mental illness, because I want to take you from about the age of 5 to I don't know 14 or so, and uh, yeah, and then I'm going to talk about helpful hints as far as your dog goes, and uh, and some helpful items for the house if you need them. Okay. Um, so from about the age of 5 to um, let's see, we'll go through 12 first. Age 5 to 12, I had it was a let's see, I was in first grade in kindergarten. I was thrown out of kindergarten. Went to Catholic. My mom and dad put me in Catholic school, and that didn't work out. So then in first grade, they'd broken my collarbone. These things not a big deal, but when you start adding everything all up, then trust me, and you'll see. Um, and between second and third, um, I was molested on 2 different occasions by a stranger. Don't know who they were. Nothing. I never said anything to anybody. I was very ashamed, and you got to understand that the culture that I lived in, 35, 45 years ago, those things weren't talked about, and I was so ashamed, and I was picked on a whole lot. I mean, my brothers, because we're outsiders, we're in different states and everything, and different religion and all of that. So we were beat up almost every single day from from like first grade to fifth grade, and uh, so uh, let's see. There was one of my friends had was doing a magic trick, and I was young. Um, did a magic was doing a magic trick and accidentally hung himself. Uh, well, no, we were all young and didn't even know um, that it wasn't part of the trick. Uh, let's see. Um, and then third grade, I was tied to my desk by a teacher in third grade, and yeah, it was pretty bad. And then in fourth and fifth grade, something else happened. I don't remember exactly, with the fourth and fifth grade teachers. But mom had gone up there and was really mad and pulled us out. So then they decided we were going to go to um, a private school, a Christian private school. And when we went there, our pastor, who was also uh, uh, the principal, is 6'5". Aspen. He was 6'5", and um, and corporal punishment then was the three swats with a paddle, uh, and for every infraction. Now, needless to say, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, I was in to see the principal a lot. I had gained I guess with all the beating up and all the other trauma. Just 1 second. Aspen! Hey, Kate, that's enough. That I had gained some I was liking pain too much, and so I enjoyed it. So I was in the principal's office for three or four times a week for swats, and sometimes break a paddle. Well, that takes quite a hit to do. So you know, that whole thing was it was um, it was that. I tell you these things not because anybody feels sorry for me, because um, I am who I am today, and I am where I am today uh, because of these things. Um, uh, Maybe the disability or whatever, but I couldn't imagine a better life with me and my wife and my dogs. Uh, it's it's awesome. Um, Sometimes I wish I didn't have the thoughts that I did and stuff like that, but I did. And so my childhood was twisted just a little bit different than some. And like I said, back then it was quite a bit different than most. Um, but I'll get into more about how things progressed and um, how things were later on. I don't want anybody to ever think my parents did a horrible thing, because they were absolutely wonderful. My mother still apologizes to this day for the way that we grew up and stuff like that. And I tell all the time, don't worry about it. I grew up perfectly and wouldn't change a thing. Um, so on the other thing, do you ever get off of that, because that's getting depressing and stuff. But okay, if you've ever had a dog and they do that, like they're coughing up a hairball noise, they're going. Um, Not a bulldog, of course, but a regular dog. And it sounds horrible, like they're coughing up a fur ball. Well, that's usually what they call a reverse sneeze. And the easiest way to take care of that is you grab them by their cheeks. And you don't hold their mouth shut or anything, but you grab them by their cheeks and you blow into their nose. It sounds disgusting. You can either I mean, but it is the best way to fix that as soon as possible. And one of my female Saint Bernards, um, she gets that, and hers is brought on by sometimes anxiety or um, 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 uh, I forget, but sometimes she gets that, and I do that, and I sing, "Hush, little baby, don't you cry," so she feels better. Um, the helpful hints around the house um, is in my house, because I have dogs and stuff like that, and just that around the house is, if you um, like I said, we had dogs. Sometimes we need to keep it separated, but a big door going from like our living room to the kitchen is unpractical. So I like to cook without my dogs being in there all the time, and I don't like telling them all the time to leave the kitchen or whatever. So I put up, not like baby cat. I put up a chain link fence gate. And it works out good. It's not ugly. It's very um, ornamental looking. Um, so the dogs can see out or in, and I can see them, and very low key. And it's not terribly ugly. And if you have an open floor plan, if you take the time and you do it right, you can get one of those big long sliding fence gates that goes over a whole driveway, but you don't have to have the rail going to your floor. It just and basically back by the wall. And what you do is you put the rail down, then you build a like mini wall, like 4 inches out, and you use 2x4s, and you stand it up on the 4-inch wide that you're looking at, not in, but wide. So, and you place them along there, and you sheetrock it, and you sheetrock the top, so your gate slides right in there, and it also gives you like a 4 or 5 inch after drywall and everything, a 5-inch shelf for the leg. And that way you could easily just roll it across. That it doesn't have to be ugly or anything. It can be very nice looking, and you can roll it across and keep the dogs out, and then it's almost like the doors that you tuck into a wall. I forget what that's called, but it's just like that, and you can push it out, put it in, and it's hidden, and all of that. And if you have kids, what I've always done is I've always taken my doors and cut them in half, because I've found that kids like to get it inside the door and then back themselves up against it, and you can't hardly get in without hurting them. So cutting the door and in half and adding a couple of hinges, one to the top, one to the bottom, and of course you get a 1x2, and you can make it look real nice. That fixes that problem of where you can easily get in. And I kept it that way with my teenagers, because sometimes they slam the door or whatever, and when they did that, then all I'd have to do is, because I don't like slamming of doors, I take the bottom half off and put it in the living room or in a shed or anything. Take the doors off. And the first time it's, for a day, for the second time for a week, and it's the third time for a month, and it's never gone over that. You take the doors off of a teenager, and you don't allow them hanging anything up either, because you don't want to get used to it. And you just make sure that it's open, and they'll get the idea that they can't do that. And those are my suggestions for today. Like I said, those in half. I'm bringing the in outdoors in with the gates. You can make them look really, really nice. And I promise tomorrow I'll have a new format, and I'll talk to you guys about that. And I want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. And welcome to the new subscribers. Hope you enjoy this. If you have anything to say or comment, please do so. I'll take the good with the bad, and I can deal with it. So if you really like it, share it with your friends. Or if you just like it, just keep it to yourself. It's okay. I'm not doing this for monetary stuff. I'm doing this to try to help people like me, or people that may be in similar situations, and maybe help things be better. Anyway, this is Money Rag. I'm not going to do Chaps by Chaps today. And that's what Chaps by Chaps. Instead, I'm not doing it. No, I'm just joking. So this is Money Rag. Peace, guys. Love ya.